In this tutorial, we'll continue the configuration of a basic product using the Infigo Form Builder. This section looks at the basic configuration of a text field. The end result will be a single text box on our form which accepts a single line text input and places it onto the canvas. There will be no formatting options displayed on the form, and end users will not have the ability to format the text using the pop-up. Okay, so I'm going to begin by adding a text field to our canvas. You can format this text field in the usual way. So you can double click on the field on the canvas to bring up the pop-up, which is filled with configuration options. Amongst many other things, this will allow you to define the font, text size, and behavior when text reaches the end of that field. So with that field configured how we want it, I'm just going to go ahead and go to our custom tab. So we're going to start configuring this using the form builder itself. You'll see that we have an entry there for the field we've just added. It's got a little icon indicating that it's a text field. We can select it using the text field icon and get to its more advanced configuration options using the select field button. That will take us to our advanced configuration using the form builder for this particular field. Okay, so as with the image fields that we looked at in previous tutorials, we're going to start off with a field name. That will be displayed on the actual form itself unless we precede it with 3 asterisks. We want to specify the order in which the field will appear on the form. So this is the number here. So if this is the number 1 and it precedes, well, and that's less than the other fields that we have, it will display at the top of the form. So you see in this case that both of the fields that we have are listed as 1. So it will go in this order as it's listed here. If we want the single name input to be higher, I'm going to actually increase the value there for the image upload field. Okay, we have a visibility option there as well, where we can show and hide the content of that field. This is great if you've already fully defined a field, so don't want to delete it, but don't want it on the canvas at the moment. And then as with the image fields, underneath there we have the interactivity options. So this set of options controls the primary ways in which your customer can interact with the field. You can control behavior such as their ability to delete or reposition the field, along with controlling whether or not they can open that configuration pop-up by double-clicking on it. Remember, this is only a sample of the most commonly used interactivity options. More detailed options can be located on this particular pop-up in the Details tab. So we'll notice at the moment that our text field is not appearing on the actual form itself. And this is because we haven't selected the type of text field that this is going to be. So the type of input within this text field. You have a selection of multiple format types depending on what you wish the content of that field to be. So if I click on there, you'll see we have a few different options. And we'll cover many of these in later tutorials. For now, we'll stick with the absolute basics and select a single line text field. And you'll see that as soon as I select that, the entry becomes available on the form on the right-hand side. That's ready to go. As soon as I place some text in this form now, which is simulating how our customers would interact with it, you can see it updates on the canvas. Okay, so if you have a lot of fields on your canvas, it might be difficult to spot the element that this text field relates to. So what we've got on here, you'll see to the right-hand side of that text field, we have this little target icon. And that snaps us to a view of this particular field. So you'll see when we actually do our initial configuration options for our text field that it means that a lot of configuration options, so a lot of formatting for that particular text field is available by default. So things like changing the font color, changing the alignment, they're all there by default. In our example, we're going to remove these to prevent our customer from altering the format and only giving them the option to change the input text and nothing else. The easiest way to do this, so on the configuration within the form builder of that particular field, is just to click on no formatting options. That will get rid of absolutely all of the other options which are on here. Alternatively, if you want some finer control over this, so let's say you only want to disable font selection, turn off the no formatting options and then only toggle the options of the things you don't want to show. So for example, if I say no font size selection, that option will no longer be available within the form itself. So once again, I want to draw your attention to field tags down at the bottom of the screen. We see that when we change options in our form builder, configuration field tags are added and removed. So for example, keep an eye on the field tags. See, as I uncheck options, they're added and removed. New tags can be added manually if you already have a configuration in mind and you know the tags that they require. And we intend to create and distribute a list of available field tags for you to use in the future. And I know I've said this before, but remember, not all configuration options are shown on the actual form builder itself. If you need further configuration or interactivity options, double click on the actual field. As an administrator, you'll always have access to this pop-up. And then you want to go to the Details tab, and that will give you much greater control.